Welcome to Netecetra Tech Tribe, the podcast exploring the world of technology. I'm your host, Ivana Paskowska. In this episode, we'll talk about the key factors driving successful digital products with a focus on the critical role of trust. Joining me today are Gabriele, Managing Director of Netecetra's Division Digital Enterprise, and Monika Muller, UX Architect. Welcome, girls.
Hi.
Hello.
So, what makes a digital product a success? Have you been able to identify some key factors that made a product successful?
Sure, Ivana. In my opinion, a digital product success depends on a few key factors. First, user-friendly design. Second, ease of use. Third, security and privacy. So, what do I mean with that? Designing always with your users in mind ensures the product meets their needs and preferences. For me, as a non-digital native, making the product easy to navigate and understand is even more important. It also encourages high user engagement. And in times where everyone talks about data privacy, protecting user data and being transparent about privacy practices is a must and build trust with users. So, focusing on these aspects can boost the chances of success and create products that users enjoy and find valuable.
Yes. And when we're talking about trust is big at Netecetra. And it's something that we're very invested in, right? It's a crucial aspect of digital product success. How can trust be fostered among users? And why would you say it's so important?
Yeah, indeed. Building trust among users is vital for digital product success. It directly influences user satisfaction, retention, and overall product performance. Ensuring the product consistently meets expectations and delivers on promise is key. Reliability fosters trust and confidence in users. Transparent communication with users is essential as well. This includes clearly explaining data usage, security measures, and any updates. At Netecetra, we uphold integrity and ethical standards, avoiding misleading practices. Maintaining consistency in branding and user experience is crucial. Authenticity builds trust and credibility. Earning trust can lead to positive recommendations and reviews, boosting our reputation and attracting new users.
Yes. And you mentioned visual aspects as one of the key factors. Why is it so important that users feel at ease with a product or application? Can you share some strategies on how to achieve this?
Yes, so first, why is it so important? I would say trust is a fundamental requirement for any interaction. If you don't trust a shop, you're not going to buy anything or not even enter the shop. So you need some level of trust to even begin to interact with something. And with digital products, the first impression you get is most likely the visual appearance. And for something to feel familiar, you must follow standards. You must also know the context, because there is not one standard for good design for everything. You must know in which context something is used and what would be the standards in that situation or in that given context. And on top of that, for the users to feel at ease, you must focus on the interaction design. How do they go through a process? And so you need to anticipate their needs through that process and provide meaningful interactions to fulfill those needs. And how do we do that? So we use iterative design processes. We use prototyping a lot. We test, and then we get feedback. We refine the product. And so it's a continuously improving process to improve the user experience.
Yes, that's right. If we highlight the significance of prioritizing the needs and expectations of users, how product teams can effectively prioritize and meet these user expectations.
Yeah, so here user research, as we mentioned before, is really crucial. So, like interviews or user testings. And what I learned in every user testing I was part of is no matter how much effort you put into thinking ahead, what might happen, what might be a concern, um, there's always at least one thing popping up that no one has thought about. So I can talk about an example. We did this user testing in the health sector. It was about an application where you fill out a long, complex, multi-step form, and we, together with our customer, we thought a lot about what would be the pain points and made a lot of effort and help users get through the process. So, but when we did the testing, the users were in the first round all fixated on one thing, and that was when we click the save button, does it really save? And that's such a basic thing. We didn't think about it. First of all, the testing wasn't about that. And we thought if we explain the users beforehand, this is a prototype, it does not really save anything. It would be absolutely irrelevant what the save button does or that it doesn't do anything. And so the thing was, even though we explained, it kept coming up after every screen. They were talking about, well, did it save now? Can I proceed? They didn't trust us because we told them, yeah, it's okay. So because it held up the process so much and we couldn't do much, we were in the middle of testing. I tried a desperate little change between the first round and the second round in the pause. I just changed the appearance of the save button. Once you clicked on it, it would go disabled for 3 seconds. Nothing else happened. It didn't really save anything still. But this little change was very effective. No one talked about the save button anymore. So I learned 2 things. Well, first of all, what I mentioned before, things come up that you cannot think of. It may be little things that become a huge hurdle for people. But also, sometimes we tend to over-design things. I mean, of course, there are standards for feedbacks on saving, and you show maybe a little confirmation message. But none of that was needed here. So this desperate solution also showed to me that sometimes it can be much simpler things that solve a problem, and here give the user the reassurance that their action was noticed, and that's all they needed in this situation.
Yeah. In the context of digital product development, what common challenges can hold back the establishment of trust and meeting customer expectations? How can they be addressed?
To meet user expectation efficiently, digital product teams should focus on 3 key areas. First, alignment with user needs. Ensure that product features and functionality resonates with user expectations by aligning them with user needs. This involves setting realistic expectations through marketing and communication and constantly monitoring and reporting to users' feedback. Second, technical reliability. Prioritize quality assurance and testing to prevent technical issues like bugs and downtimes, which can frustrate users and erode trust. Implement robust error monitoring and response mechanisms to swiftly address any technical challenge that arise. Third, user experience optimization. Enhance user satisfaction by investing in intuitive design and navigation. conduct thorough user research, usability testing, and continuous iteration based on feedback to create a smoother and more satisfying user experience.
Yeah, and I would add to that, talking about user experience, that a common challenge often comes from the fact that you may have different user groups with sometimes conflicting user needs. Typical example for that, and that's something you're almost always going to have, are the frequent users, the experienced users versus first-time users. So the efficiency and the easy to use often are conflicting, because to make something easy to use, you want to go step by step and slow. You want to be efficient. You want to do 2 clicks, and sometimes that's not understandable for new users. So in the development process, it can happen that you go sort of in circles, and this may not happen in one meeting, but weeks apart. And one time someone may come up and say, oh, we cannot design it this way because new users will not understand it. So you make it extra simple. And then maybe weeks later, someone else looks at it and thinks, oh no, this is very annoying. Why do I have to go through all these steps if
Yes.
I'm an experienced user? And then you're tempted to change it again. And not everyone is always in the loop. And so sometimes you're making conflicting decisions like that. And one strategy to address this is the use of personas. So personas are fictional characters like Frankie, first-time user. You give him a name, you give him some personality traits and needs, so the team can empathize with this fictional character, and also it helps remembering what you're focusing on. And also the method of personas will guide you to identify how many personas you have, and it will guide you to prioritize which is your primary persona, as we say. So if your primary persona is the first-time user, you're gonna build a very easy to use UI, and for the secondary persona, the frequent user, you will maybe add some hidden shortcuts.
Yeah.
And if it's the other way around, everything is optimized on very few clicks, and you would then give some extra help for those that need more help. But in any case, once you made this decision, and you will not go in circles anymore and be tempted to change what you did before. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, putting myself in such position of a user from this perspective, for example, and thinking about a plain, simple interface, right, and something that would give me more I don't know, challenge with the using of the application, I would definitely go to the more challenging side. But then again, not everyone wants to be bothered with overcomplicated processes with an application, right? Most of the people maybe want to have oversimplified process. Just double click on something, click on this, click on that, and be done with it, right?
Exactly. And it really depends on for what are you using this. So Gabi mentioned the ticket purchase where you want to be very fast, but we also have this other ticketing app where people buy a subscription. So if you buy a subscription and you only need to renew it once a year, maybe you will always be like a first-time user, and you need this slow step-by-step process.
Yes, definitely. Do you have some favorite digital products that you've successfully worked on and created in a trustworthy and customer-centric environment?
Oh, yes, Ivana. With over 25 years of experience in digital product development, I have numerous examples to share. One standout project involves creating mobile apps for ticketing in Switzerland's local public transport network. Our primary aim was to make purchasing a ticket as effortless as possible, mirroring the familiar process of buying from a vending machine. This user-centric design approach proved pivotal in the app's success. Notably, we prioritized user trust by ensuring the app functioned without requiring registration, aligning with our commitment to data minimization.
Mhm, mhm. And are there specific industries or digital products where the importance of trust and customer satisfaction is especially pronounced? And how can companies in these sectors leverage these insights, this information?
I'd say clearly trust and customer satisfaction are crucial in various digital industries. In healthcare, trust and satisfaction are vital as users rely on digital platforms for medical information, health record management, and remote healthcare services. Netecetra emphasizes privacy, security, and compliance with healthcare regulations. This can be utilized by ensuring secure data transmission and storage, user-friendly interfaces, accurate medical information, and effective patient-provider communication. Similarly, in finance, trust and satisfaction are significant due to the sensitive nature of transactions and personal data. Security, transparency, and reliability are essential to establish trust with users.
Yeah, so we were talking before a lot about how important it is to follow standards. But as we are an innovative company, what if we think we have come up with something that's better than the standard? So, what do you do when you break standards or want to set new standards? I guess that's when trust becomes a very challenging issue. So the thing I'm thinking of right now is the paperless ticket we developed for public transportation. So the challenge here was usually you go either to the vending machine or you use your app or you buy a ticket and then you have your ticket in case of inspection to present. So the new innovation was that you go to the device with your credit card, you purchase the ticket you want, but you get nothing, which is very unusual. So the way it would work is that in case of an inspection, you show that credit card to the inspector and they can check whether there was a purchase made with this card. And that way you would either have a valid ticket or not. But how do you explain this new concept to passengers?
Yeah,
So
because I'm guessing that showing your credit card to a random inspector is not something that would
it's not
everyone
something I
gladly
know
do.
of that
Yeah,
that's
right?
ever was done, but apparently it was in other places in the world. But
Interesting.
yeah, here in Switzerland, that's not a thing, not yet. So how can we introduce that? And I guess, as always, there are different things you can do. Here are a few things that we did. Of course, communication is very important. The transport providers, they announced this, they explained it. We created a poster to hang up in the bus so people could read the instructions and see what it is. And also, we did a pilot test. So it was just a very small audience, one line, and also the service provider assigned an assistant who would be next to the machine and explain to people what's happening. Yeah, and also what we thought about is, I mean, when you break a standard, I think it's important to make yourself aware of what it is that you're taking away from people. So the paper ticket, what is it for? What is it giving people? So it gives people the reassurance that in case of inspection, they have a valid ticket and that they're okay. So if you take that away, what can you replace it with? And one thing we did in this case, we offered a self-inspection option. So you could tap on self-control and then present your card, and it would then read out whether you had made a purchase or not. And that way you could play inspector on yourself and be sure that you have a ticket.
Yeah.
So
it's
yeah.
a way of reassuring yourself that
Yes, yeah,
you have a valid transportation
right.
ticket, so to say. Yeah. Just reassuring yourself. That's interesting. And what key takeaways or actionable advice would you give to those looking to build digital products that install confidence in their user base? What would you say?
I would say focus on building trust, security, transparency, and user-centered design to create digital products that ensure long-term success. Stay agile and adaptive to meet evolving user needs, market trends, and technology advancements. And last but not least, embrace change, iterate rapidly, and listen to user feedback to stay ahead in the fast-paced digital landscape.
Well, thank you, Gabi and Monika, for today's chat and for sharing your expertise.
Thank
Thank you,
you. You're
Anna.
welcome.
Yeah. And that's a wrap for this episode of Netecetra Tech Tribe. Remember, the success of digital products isn't just about functionality. It's about trust, reliability, and exceeding expectations of the users. Keep these principles in mind as you embark on your next digital journey. If you found this episode insightful and inspiring, don't forget to subscribe and share it with your colleagues and fellow tech enthusiasts. Stay inspired, stay innovative, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the digital world.